Hello Harshil, this video is to help you prepare for the French roleplay, which is part of the speaking task, and this is the foundation version. So we've got an example task here. So I'm going to talk generally about the roleplay task in general, and then afterwards we'll go through how to prepare for this task in particular, but also giving again some general tips. So the first thing to note regarding the roleplay task is that you should spend approximately 4 minutes out of your 12 preparing for this task. Remember that you have about 12 minutes to prepare for the roleplay task and the picture-based task. There is another video regarding how to prepare for the picture-based task as well. So the reason I say you should spend about 4 minutes on this one is that the roleplay task doesn't require development of your sentences compared to the picture-based task anyway. This task is more about giving relevant answers or questions depending on the number of the bullet point, and therefore single sentences would actually be fine for many of these. And this is reflected in the mark scheme for each bullet point, which is marked out of 2. So it's literally 0 out of 2 if you say nothing, or if your answer is really ambiguous. You get 1 mark out of 2 if it's partially clear, or you get 2 marks out of 2 if your answer is clear and it's clearly communicated regarding the actual number or bullet point itself. So key things to note. So when you get your sheet, there is a lot that you need to look at. The situation is really important because that allows you to kind of zoom in on what you need to start thinking about and what you should be saying. So it gives you an English handily. So it says in this one, it says you're in a restaurant celebrating a special occasion in France. The teacher will play the part of the waiter or the waitress and will speak first. So that's important, okay, so that we know that the teacher is playing the role of the waiter and that you are a customer. This is important, okay. The roleplay task will always tell you what register to use in terms of whether tu or vous. So in this one it says vous. The difference between tu and vous is that tu is more informal, the kind of way you would speak to a friend, for example, whereas vous is more formal, and it's how you speak to someone for the first time you've met them, someone who's older than you, and it's more respectful. It's very important that you use the correct one according to what you're told to do. So as this one says, we're going to use vous, so that's what we're going to use. Then it says you'll talk to the teacher in the 5 prompt below. So where you see a question mark, so you can see it's number 5 over here, that means you must ask a question. So we'll talk more about how to do that because that can be problematic. And then where you see an exclamation mark, that is something you cannot prepare for. So that'll be where I, as a teacher, will ask you a question, will be related to something around this, but it's not anything that you can actually prepare for. So it'll be kind of an unknown kind of aspect. In the roleplay task, there isn't necessarily a set structure as opposed to the picture-based task, which is always describe the photo, opinion, etc., etc. This one will depend on the situation. So as I said, because we're in a restaurant here, the bullet points and the numbers are relevant to that. So you need to be very specific and pay attention to the fact that it is whatever your situation is. So let's get into the preparation side of it. So as with the picture-based task, okay, you can only write on one side of A4 for both tasks, okay? So make sure that your notes are concise, and they shouldn't necessarily be used as a reading exercise, but they should be used as a stimulus in order to actually help you speak French. So first thing to note is that the situation, so vous êtes dans un restaurant à Lyon, France, à l'occasion d'une fête. And we already know what it means because it says you're in a restaurant celebrating a special occasion in France. Where you see these numbers, okay, so 1 and 2 and 4, that means the teacher will have a question related to that bullet point. So they'll ask you a question regarding table and person, and then hopefully your answer will match that question. So how you prepare. So we're going to do this one in particular. So it's bullet point 1, table and person. So I'm going to put bullet point 1, so I know I'm talking about that one. I'm going to think what it means. So it says table and person, which we know is table and people. And then I think about my situation, so I'm in a restaurant, so what could I answer, what will I be asked? It's very likely that I'm going to be asked something like, what would you like? So I would need to give details regarding the table and for how many people. So a good phrase, which will be really useful in any kind of role play, would be je voudrais. And je voudrais, you should know, it means I would like. Okay, so je voudrais, apologies for the handwriting. That's a really good phrase. Then I'd use that some of the bullet points, so in table, and then so that's kind of that. If I just said that in answer to question 1, I'd only get 1 mark out of 2 because I haven't referenced the person yet. So I need to do that now. So je voudrais une table pour, and then I need to give regarding a number, don't know, because it's about people. So I need to give a number that I know and I need to write it in French words, because if you're under pressure and you see the number written as, so if we use 4, for example, if I wrote it like that, then like I said, if I'm under pressure, as speaking exams can be, then I might say that in English or I might panic. So it's important that I think of a number that I know and I write it in French. So 4, which I know. So je voudrais une table pour 4 personnes. Done. Okay, like I said, there's no development required. You don't need to give an opinion. You don't need to talk about somebody else. It's a situation, okay? It's a short, sharp answer, and which is relevant. So that's bullet point 1 done. I'd say table personne, and I said je voudrais une table pour 4 personnes. Then I look at question 2, and it says fait and raison. So if you don't know, raison means reason, okay? So it's like a justification. So my question, as the examiner, as the teacher, will be something like, is this for a special occasion? You just saying yes or no is not, it shows an understanding, but it's not actually giving good response, okay, in terms of what you should be saying. So a good answer would be something like oui. If I ask you, is it for a special occasion? Then say, which means it is. Pour, again, so I'm using that again. Say pour, and then I'm thinking, what do I know regarding special occasions? So I could say birthday. I could say c'est pour mon anniversaire. It's for my birthday. I should know those words, okay? I should know mon and anniversaire. You need to think of what you do know, okay? Do not think of your ideas in English and then try and translate them, because that will put you under pressure and it's not a good way of thinking, okay? It's about thinking about what you do know. You could use, I don't know, other festivals that you know. You could talk about Noel, which is Christmas, Pâques, which is Easter. But the idea is that you think of things that you do know and you make it fit to the answer. So the bullet point was celebration and reason. I'm thinking what I've said. Yeah, it's for my birthday. And I think that's answered. Right, bullet point 3, as we said, we can't see, so we can't prepare for it. But we could be thinking about what could we be asked in this situation. So we've said the table, we've said the special occasion. So now we think, what could we be asking about? Okay, remember, we're not eating yet. So it's unlikely to be asking about regarding what we want to eat or drink. So that's the kind of thing you can be doing. You can be kind of thinking about it, but it would not be a good idea to predict exactly and write down an exact answer in case that isn't what comes up in the actual exam itself. Right, bullet point 4 is, as it says there, cuisine française, an opinion. So I know I need to give an opinion, and I know that cuisine française means French food. So I'm thinking of my opinions. The examiner is going to ask me something like, I don't know, do you like French cuisine? Do you like French food? So I'm going to think of an opinion. And again, what you say does not have to be true. It just has to make sense and answer the question. So I'm going to say j'aime, because I know that's a nice and easy one. And then I'm going to use the bullet point in my answer. So I'm going to say j'aime la cuisine française, because I'm going to use that. I'm going to expand slightly, okay, with the justification. I'm going to say car, c'est, and then I'm going to say in this one, délicieux. And I'm using délicieux instead of délicieux because cuisine française is feminine. But you can think of general ones, okay, so we could say things like génial, we could say fantastique, we could say, or if we went down the negative route, we could say je n'aime pas la cuisine française, car c'est ennuyeuse or barbante, okay? But again, we've answered the bullet point, we've given our opinion on French cuisine. Right, bullet point 5 is the question in this case, okay? So we need to look at what it says. It says restaurant, which we know is restaurant, and then it says so we should know, hopefully, that the word regards time. Now, asking a question can be problematic, but what you can do, in the same way you can do with English, is that you can raise your voice, and I don't mean shout, but kind of raise the tone of your voice at the end of the sentence to make a question. So, this one is talking about restaurant and time. So I'm going to write a sentence out. I'm going to put le restaurant ferme, which means close, or I could use ouvert, which means open. So I could use either of them, but not both of them. So le restaurant à quelle heure? which means, as a statement, it means the restaurant closes or opens at what time. So le restaurant ferme à quelle heure? So that's a statement at the moment. It's not a question. So how do I make it into a question? What I do is, as I said, I raise a tone of my voice at the end. Okay. So the restaurant ferme à quelle heure? Le restaurant ferme à quelle heure? And it's turned into a question now instead of a sentence. And that means the restaurant closes at what time? You could switch around the order of the wording. So I could start with à quelle heure le restaurant ferme? At what time does the restaurant close? But like I said, if you're struggling to make a question in a pressurized situation as the preparation time is, then this would be a good way to do it. And that is the role-play task confirmed. What I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to read out the questions and the answers as if it would be. This task should last no longer than a minute or a minute and a half. So it's a very short and sharp, and that's including the time of you speaking and the examiner. So question 1 is, je peux vous aider, which means can I help you? And then the answer 1 is, je voudrais une table pour 4 personnes. Perfect, done. Question 2, c'est pour une occasion spéciale? So I've asked, is it for a special occasion? And the answer would be, oui, c'est pour mon anniversaire. Yes, it's for my birthday. Done. Question 3 is, où voulez-vous vous asseoir? Which means, where would you like to sit? So that's quite a difficult one to answer and to think about. But you would need to say something like, using the question, je voudrais asseoir. You could say à l'intérieur, inside, for example. So quite difficult, but it's the kind of thing that you could anticipate being asked. So you could have prepared for it in some kind of way. Question 4 is, que pensez-vous de la cuisine française? Which means, what do you think about French cuisine? And then you've said, j'aime la cuisine française car c'est délicieux. I like French cuisine because it's delicious. Perfect. And then question 4, bullet point 5 or question 5, which is regarding asking a question, says, le restaurant ferme à quelle heure? And then that you change it into question by changing your voice. So le restaurant ferme à quelle heure? By raising your voice with at the end, it makes it into a question, and therefore you've asked regarding the time of the times of the restaurant. So just to recap regarding the role-play task, you have 5 questions or 5 numbers, and the ones that don't, the one that has an exclamation mark is something you can't prepare for. The one that has a question mark means that you have to ask a question. The other ones are where you'll be asked a question regarding them. So you should prepare simple sentences to answer each of them, or to ask the question, which is bullet point 5 or question 5. Remember, you don't need to develop your sentences, so a single sentence is fine. If you do have any further questions related to the speaking task, the role-play task, the picture-based task, then please feel free to message me on class charts. Thank you for watching.